When Tiger Woods came home from a golf trip, he didn't expect to find a barefoot teenager sitting at his dining table. His son Charlie had invited a friend over without asking. What Tiger didn't know yet was that this boy wasn't just another guest. He was homeless. And what started as an awkward dinner turned into something far bigger. Because in true Tiger Woods fashion, what followed wasn't charity. It was a quiet, powerful masterclass in second chances, hard work, and heart. And by the end of it, one boy's dream would go from forgotten street to the national spotlight. Across the fairway, just beyond the chain-link fence that bordered the course, stood the same boy he'd noticed 3 days in a row. He didn't look like he belonged, not in the usual way people say that. He wore no shoes. His jeans were torn at the knees. But his eyes followed every swing, every putt, as if watching something sacred. Charlie paused, grabbed an extra bottle of water from his golf bag. He jogged toward the fence, heart thudding, not from nerves, but from curiosity. "Hey," he called gently, holding out the bottle through a gap in the chain link. "You thirsty?" The boy hesitated, then nodded. "Thanks," he said, voice quiet but steady. "I'm Charlie," Woods offered. "You like golf?" A pause, then a small smile. "A lot." They talked for a few minutes. The boy's name was Jaden. He was polite, bright-eyed, grateful. But he kept glancing over his shoulder like he wasn't supposed to be seen. Charlie asked where he lived. Jaden looked down at his feet. "My mom and I, we're kind of between places." Charlie didn't push. But something stirred inside him, a quiet knowing that this meeting, random as it seemed, wasn't really random at all. The next afternoon, Charlie waited by the fence. Jaden returned, same clothes, same bare feet, and the same shy smile. But today he carried something. A frayed black backpack with one strap nearly torn off. "You hungry?" Charlie asked. Jaden nodded, and they sat just beyond the trees. Charlie had brought 2 sandwiches. As they ate, Jaden unzipped the backpack and pulled out a small stack of worn books, their covers bent and pages marked with scribbles in pencil. But it was what lay beneath them that caught Charlie's breath. A thick, creased sketch pad filled with drawings. Meticulous, detailed renderings of golf courses, hole layouts, fairway angles. Some of them were of this course, almost perfect. "You drew these?" Charlie asked, flipping the pages slowly. Jaden looked away. "Yeah, just stuff I remember." "Remember from what?" "My grandpa," Jaden said, his voice soft. "He used to take me to the course when I was little. We played together, until he got sick. After that, everything kind of fell apart." Charlie didn't say anything right away. He just kept looking at the sketches, one in particular of the 7th hole with a note in the margin. "Avoid the left trap. Think wind, not power." "You ever play anymore?" he asked. Jaden shook his head. "No clubs, no shoes, no place." Charlie glanced down at his own brand new gear, then back at Jaden. He didn't know how, but one thing was certain. This kid didn't belong behind a fence. He belonged on the course, and Charlie was going to find a way to make that happen. It started as a simple idea. Jaden had said his mom was working late. Said he usually just ate crackers, maybe a peanut butter sandwich if there was any left. Something in the way he said it, like it didn't bother him, bothered Charlie. So without thinking much about consequences, Charlie said, "Why don't you come to my place for dinner?" Jaden blinked. "Really?" Charlie grinned. "You ever had my dad's chef's spaghetti?" The boy didn't answer, but the look in his eyes said everything. 20 minutes later, they stood outside the towering gates of the Woods estate. Jaden looked unsure. He adjusted his backpack strap, nervously glancing at the vast home stretching beyond the hedges. "You sure this is okay?" he asked. "Yeah," Charlie said. Tally. Inside, the housekeeper nearly dropped a plate when she saw Charlie walk in with a barefoot stranger. "Master Charlie? Who's this?" "My friend," Charlie replied simply. "Can he stay for dinner?" She hesitated, then picked up the phone. Tiger was in his car, just wrapping up a meeting when the call came through. "There's a boy here, sir," the housekeeper said, uncertain. "Charlie brought him home." Tiger didn't say anything at first, just, "I'm on my way." When he arrived, he walked into the dining room to find Charlie laughing, animated, dishing out extra helpings of garlic bread. And next to him, Jaden. Clean hands, messy hair, wide eyes, eating like he hadn't all day. Tiger froze in the doorway. He didn't speak, didn't sit, just watched. Jaden looked up and locked eyes with him, said nothing. Charlie beamed. "Dad, this is Jaden." Tiger's jaw tightened. He gave a small nod. but his silence filled the room like thunder. The moment the plates were cleared, Tiger gestured to Charlie with a subtle flick of his head. Not angry, just firm. Charlie followed his father into the den, heart pounding. The door shut behind them with a quiet click. "You can't just bring strangers into our home, Charlie." The words weren't shouted, but that made them worse. Charlie stood tall. "He's not a stranger." Tiger crossed his arms. "You met him 4 days ago." "Yeah, and in those 4 days he's shown more heart than half the kids at my school." Tiger said nothing, just stared. Charlie took a breath, forcing the words out. "He's like me, Dad." That gave Tiger pause. Charlie continued. "He sees the course different. He draws holes from memory. He knows what the wind does near the bunker on 9. He doesn't have shoes, but he's got a swing in his head that's better than mine." Tiger looked away, jaw flexing. "He's not a threat," Charlie added. "He's just alone and hungry. And I thought maybe we could be the kind of people who do something about that." The room went still. For a long time, Tiger didn't say a word. The same silence he once used to dominate a green now pressed between father and son. Finally, Tiger exhaled. "I need to think." Charlie opened his mouth to speak, but Tiger shook his head gently. "Not now." As Charlie left the room, he passed the dining table, where Jaden still sat quietly, hands folded, unsure whether to stay or run. Upstairs, in the quiet of his room, Charlie stared out the window at the empty course. He didn't regret inviting Jaden, but he wondered if in doing so he'd accidentally opened more than a door. He might have cracked something deeper, and Tiger Woods wasn't sure yet if he wanted it opened. The garage was quiet, dim light filtering through the small window above Tiger's workbench. He'd come to grab a wrench, something about the leaky faucet in the guest bathroom. But his eyes landed on something else. A worn-out sketch pad, torn edges, smudged fingerprints. Charlie must have forgotten it there. Curious, Tiger flipped it open. Page after page of pencil drawings, greens, bunkers, fairways, and flagsticks. Every angle, every detail. These weren't just doodles, they were blueprints. Art. He stopped at one sketch, hole 12 of their home course, drawn from the caddy's point of view. Tiger blinked. It was perfect. An hour later, dusk was falling. The sky glowed orange, fading into a soft purple. Tiger walked the path out to the driving range behind the house. No clubs in hand, just watching. Jaden was there, alone. He was swinging a driver that was clearly too tall for him, probably one of Charlie's old ones. No golf shoes, no tee markers, just a kid hitting into the wind. The swing was raw, rough, but it had something. Tiger stepped closer, quietly. "Adjust your grip," he said softly. Jaden spun around, startled. Tiger motioned to the club. "Stronger hands. Let the swing follow your breath." Jaden looked at him, unsure. "You golf?" Tiger nodded but said nothing more. Jaden adjusted, swung again. The ball lifted, clean, straight, and smooth. Tiger gave a small nod. "That's the one." And then, just as silently as he'd arrived, Tiger turned and walked away. The next afternoon they sat on the edge of the Woods' backyard patio. Charlie was tossing a ball up and down. Jaden, still wearing his usual oversized hoodie, was staring out toward the range. "Why did your dad come talk to me?" Jaden finally asked. Charlie hesitated, then smiled. "You don't know who he is, do you?" Jaden shook his head. "He's cool, quiet, but, I don't know. Doesn't seem like a regular guy." Charlie leaned back. "His name's Tiger." Jaden turned. "Tiger what?" Charlie looked him straight in the eye. "Woods." Jaden froze. "Like Tiger Woods? The Tiger Woods?" Charlie nodded slowly. Jaden blinked, stunned. He didn't act like he was anyone. He just helped." "That's how he is," Charlie said. "He watches first, speaks second." Jaden was silent for a long moment. "I thought he was just a good golfer." Charlie grinned. "He's the greatest." They sat there, quiet again. But something had changed. The invisible line between them was gone. That evening, Jaden returned to the range at dusk. Tiger was waiting, one club in hand. "You ready?" he asked. Jaden swallowed, nodded. "Yeah." And so they began. Each night after sunset, the legend and the boy trained in secret. No cameras, no expectations. Just shadows, swings, and a promise forming between them. Something greater was beginning, and neither of them fully knew it yet. The sky was falling into that soft, early evening blue. Charlie sat on the porch steps, a club resting across his lap. Tiger joined him, a bottle of water in one hand, silence in the other. "He's good, isn't he?" Charlie asked without looking up. Tiger didn't answer right away. He looked out over the fairway, eyes distant. "When I was your age," he began, "there was this kid, scrawny, didn't have much, always hanging around the course. Not a dime to his name, but he had hands. Quiet hands. Knew how to listen to the ball." Charlie turned toward him. "Did you help him?" Tiger smiled softly. "No, my dad did." He stared at the horizon like he could still see Earl Woods Sr. standing there. "Dad brought him in, fed him, gave him shoes, taught him how to grip a club. That kid went on to play college golf." Charlie blinked. "Why'd he help him?" Tiger looked at his son, really looked. "Because we don't always know where greatness comes from," he said, "but we know it when we see it." He took a long breath. "And I see it in Jaden." Jaden didn't show up at the range that evening, or the next. On the third day, Charlie found him, not on the course, but sitting on a curb outside a gas station, his face streaked with sweat and dirt. "They found us," Jaden said. "Cleared the camp. Gave us 10 minutes. Charlie's heart dropped. "Where's your mom?" "Trying to get into a shelter," he said. "But they're full. Everywhere's full." That night, Charlie didn't eat dinner. He paced, restless. Then he marched into the living room. "You have to help him," he said, standing in front of his father. Tiger didn't answer. His eyes stayed on the muted television screen, but his mind was elsewhere. After a long beat, he stood, walked into his office, and closed the door behind him. Charlie thought it was over. But inside that quiet room, Tiger pulled out an old leather-bound book, the kind only people who remember people keep. He flipped to a dog-eared page and found a number. It rang 3 times, then a deep voice answered. "Coach Bryant here." Tiger took a breath. "Coach, I need a favor, a big one." The sun was setting behind the freeway when Tiger pulled the SUV to the side of the road. Charlie sat beside him, eyes scanning the horizon. "There," Charlie pointed. Jaden and his mother were huddled near an old bus bench, one suitcase, a half-empty grocery bag. That was it. Tiger got out first. No flash, no fanfare, just a quiet approach. Jaden looked up, unsure. His mother straightened cautiously. Tiger nodded once. "I'd like to offer you something." Jaden stood, protective, placing himself slightly in front of his mom. "I have a guest house," Tiger said, voice low, calm. "Just until you get back on your feet. No strings, no expectations." Jaden's mother blinked, disbelief flickering in her eyes. "Why?" Tiger glanced at Charlie, who hadn't moved from the car. "Because I see potential. In both of you." That night, the guest house lights glowed warm for the first time in months. The next morning, Jaden stood on the practice green, wearing a clean polo and borrowed spikes. Tiger introduced him to his personal training team, nutritionist, swing coach, mental game advisor, all watching with quiet curiosity. "This is Jaden," Tiger said. "He's got something." Jaden shifted awkwardly. Tiger smiled faintly. "We're going to try something. No promises. Just hard work." Jaden nodded once, that same quiet fire burning behind his eyes. Charlie stepped forward and tossed Jaden a fresh glove. "Let's go." From that moment on, the real training began. 1 year later, the crowd was silent as Jaden lined up his final putt. He took one breath, then another. Slow, steady. Tap. The ball rolled true, sank dead center. Cheers erupted. The announcer's voice echoed across the course. Undefeated, the rising star, Jaden Rivers. Cameras flashed, reporters buzzed. But Jaden wasn't looking at them. He was looking at Charlie, who pumped a fist in the air with a grin. Best friends, teammates, brothers, in all the ways that counted. Tiger watched from the edge of the green, not as a celebrity, not even as a coach. Just proud. Voiceover, soft and steady. Sometimes the greatest drive doesn't come from privilege. It comes from hunger, from heart. Back at the house, the celebration was quiet, simple, just family. Jaden handed Tiger a thin, wrapped package. "What's this?" Tiger asked. Jaden shrugged. "A thank you." Inside was a framed sketch. Tiger stared. It showed a lone figure, Tiger himself, standing in the shadows of a golf course at dusk. offering a tip to a boy with a makeshift club. At the bottom, in Jaden's clean handwriting, "My first coach." Tiger blinked, once, twice, then placed a hand on Jaden's shoulder. No words were needed. The screen fades to black. Title card, inspired by the quiet moments that change everything. It was a quiet afternoon, the kind where the course shimmered under soft light and everything felt still. Jaden stood on the back porch of the guest house, staring out at the range. In his hand was a letter, a real one, folded neatly in an envelope with the logo of the U.S. Junior National Team stamped in bold across the top. He had made it, officially, but his hands trembled. Tiger stepped onto the porch beside him, a glass of iced tea in one hand. He said nothing at first, just waited. Jaden finally asked, "What if I mess this up?" Tiger sipped once, then looked him square in the eye. "You will," he said. "Eventually. Everyone does." Jaden blinked. Tiger continued. "That's the game. You win, you lose, you learn, and you keep showing up." A pause. "You earned this, Jay. Not because of me, not because of Charlie, but because you took the swing again and again." Jaden looked down at the letter, then back at the range. "I just want to make it count." Tiger smiled faintly. "You already have." And for the first time in his life, Jaden believed that might be true. 3 months later, on a chilly fall morning, a van pulled into the parking lot of a public driving range across town. Charlie stepped out first, holding a duffel bag. Jaden followed, looking crisp in his new U.S. team jacket. Waiting near the fence were 8 kids, barefoot, hand-me-down clothes, backpacks slung low. Jaden's mom greeted each one with warm snacks and a kind smile. Tiger stood by the gate, arms crossed, watching silently. "Remember this place?" Charlie whispered. Jaden nodded. "I used to watch through that fence." Now he was the one leading them in. He walked to the center of the range and held up a beat-up 7-iron. "Okay," he said. "First lesson, don't swing hard, swing smart." The kids watched him, wide-eyed. Charlie winked. "Taught him everything I know." Tiger chuckled low from the sidelines. Jaden handed a club to the smallest boy in the group. "Let the swing follow your breath," he said. The boy nodded, mimicking the motion. And just like that, a new chapter began. Not for Jaden, but for those who would follow. Back near the fence, Tiger looked toward the sky and murmured something only he could hear.